Today you see a dress I've been dreaming of sewing for literally years, probably more than 7 years, and I finally did it. It's a style that I really enjoy wearing, and the flounce there is just everything. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and this is all about making dreams come true. The pattern I'm going to share with you today, I became aware of it in probably 2017 or 2018. I always loved it and wanted to make it. I don't know why it took so long for me to actually make it, but here I am. This is from Sinclair Patterns and it's called Jessica Bodycon Dress, and it is what it says. It's a bodycon dress. It's nice and fitted, but it's not just a fitted dress, you know. There's something extra here, and it's the flounce that goes at the bottom. Now this flounce doesn't cut your full hip area. No, it goes below there around the mid-thigh area, a little lower actually. So it looks really, really balanced. I love it. And there's two types of flounces that you can add there. One is traditional, so the bottom of the dress would be straight, and then you add on your full circle flounce. Looks amazing. But the one that really caught my eye was the asymmetric one. As asymmetry has captured my heart for years now. Anytime I see something asymmetric, I want to make it. I'm really, really happy that I was able to do it. And apart from that gorgeous flounce, you have different neckline options. You can sew rounded necklines, one higher, one lower, scoop. And then you can add a turtleneck or a big turtleneck type cowl situation if you wanted one for winter. You can sew a cap sleeve, or then another pattern piece is going to have a short sleeve, 3/4 and full length, fitted to match the design of the dress. Now there are hacks that you can do, and they're very well described in the pattern how you can do them. You can make a separate skirt if you want to. On the pattern piece, you'll see a horizontal line there. That is the reference for you to cut a skirt if you want to. It's very well explained in the instructions there. I think it's very worth doing. I wish I would have had time to make a skirt with asymmetric flounce because it's amazing. I'm really going to consider that because I just love the results so much. So maybe you want to make a skirt, you can make the pattern go further. And the other thing, you can make a fitted top, cut it at the length that you want and fold up a hem. You know, I'm always saying most of the time a dress can be a top or a top can be a dress. This is the case this time as well. And you also have some instructions there on how to make that happen. This is a fitted dress, so at the center back you have an amazing seam with nice shaping. It's amazing. So the back is not cut on the fold. I appreciate that, because if it was cut on the fold, we would get excess fabric and all sorts of things going on at the back, because we usually do have some type of curve at the back as well as the one on the front. So I really appreciate that center back seam there. The Jessica dress, along with the website of all Sinclair patterns, are having a 25% off. It's a mid-year sale. You don't need to type on a discount code, nothing like that. The discount will appear at checkout, you'll see it there. And the whole website, 25% off. I think it's amazing. I've been sewing Sinclair patterns for quite a few years now. I think I started in 2018. I've made so many, always an amazing experience, and it's not different with this one. So if you want to check out Sinclair patterns, the sale runs through Sunday the 7th of July at midnight. I'll leave you my playlist of all my Sinclair patterns make down below for inspiration. All the ones I've made have tutorials, and I just think they're amazing. For the fabric, there is no way that you can make this with a woven fabric, so please don't even think about it. You need stretch, and you need a good amount of stretch, 50% horizontal, 30% vertical. That is the minimum stretch. If your fabric stretches a bit less, that is absolutely fine. Now, I totally agree with the fabric recommendations that say medium to heavyweight. I would not want to make this with anything light. So forget about the ITYs and the rayon spandex. It would look so clingy. It would just not look great. I mean, you'd have to line it or wear a sleeve. I don't know. I would not even go there with these fabrics. I don't think it would look good. So medium weight, heavyweight, go for it. I prefer to stay with the medium weight fabrics, but in theory you could use Ponte Roman, Scuba, Liverpool. I'm not going to go with those fabrics. I prefer an athletic knit. Fabrics I do prefer over the heavy ones are a stretch velvet, a sweater knit, an athletic knit, maybe a stretch suede. A heavier cotton lycra would be good as well. So that's sort of what I prefer. Rib knit, I'm going to put in an asterisk here because there's so many different types and so many different qualities and weights. If I found one that had a nice amount of compression, it was heavy enough, I would be fine with it. I've seen some that have zero recovery and they just stretch and deform till tomorrow. So you really need to look at the quality of the fabric. Sizes available are 0 to 30. Even though I saw this pattern first in 2017, it has already been updated to include a better size range. So I think originally the sizing went up to 22, but now it goes from 0 to 30 US. So I think that's amazing. The height files, you know, they're always here. It's amazing. Choose the short, the regular, and the tall according to your height, and you can have such a better result. I always choose the tall file, and it's always so good. The lengths of the hems, the lengths of the sleeves, everything. It's just so helpful. It's a fitted dress. So at the bust, you're going to have 3 inches of negative ease, which means this area is smaller than your body. That's fine. That's why we have fabric that stretches 50%. At the waist, it's stated that it's about 2 inches of positive ease. At least the way it fits on my body, I would say I have 1 inch maybe. It feels nice and fitted. I wouldn't want it looser than that. So it's nice and fitted. And then going down to the hips, it's 2.5 inches of negative ease, which is perfect. I'm okay with that amount of negative ease on a fitted dress like this, especially when I'm working with medium weight fabric like the athletic knit that I chose. So I'm super happy. I'm not concerned that it's too tight. You know, it is a bodycon dress. Now, if you didn't want it to be that tight, I would keep the original size up here because you never want gaping necklines and things. And then maybe almost as you get to the waist and going down to the hips, maybe then you can blend out to the next size just to get a little bit of a looser fit. So then then you would have to cut the flounce in the size that you end up at the bottom of the dress. So that's something that you could consider if you want to customize, you know, if you don't want it that fitted, maybe you can do that. I cut my size 16 and made 0 changes to the pattern, and I'm talking about 0, none. So that's amazing. I just cut it out and sewed it. The version I'm sewing is the one with the short sleeves. I did try my dress on before putting on the sleeves to see if I could use this armhole in the future, because there isn't an official sleeveless version of the Jessica. And I like that sleeve hole, it's perfect. So even later, if I get hot, I could remove these sleeves and bind the armhole and I would be perfectly happy. And I've been known to do that in the past with a few dresses because I always love the look of the sleeve. I love, you know, wearing the sleeve, but at some point it gets really hot and then I take the sleeves off. I have filmed some sewing for you. It's super, super simple. I'm going to show you the general steps to get to this beautiful dress. So let's see. Here are the main pieces for the Jessica dress. The front is simple, it's just cut on the fold. The back is not cut on the fold. As you can see there, this is a center back area. There's quite a bit of shaping and there is a center back seam, which I'm very grateful for. Because on a fitted dress, you really need that extra shaping there. If the back was cut on the fold, then you would have excess of fabric at the back. For the neckline, I'm doing the deeper scoop here. I think that's pretty for me. And instead of doing a neckband, I'm just going to do binding instead. So I think the neckband piece was a little bit wider. I think this fabric is just too heavy for a neckband. There is my sleeve piece, nothing special here. It's just a short sleeve, other lengths as well. There is a separate pattern piece for a cap sleeve. If you see this little slanted area here, it's just because this has been trued for the shape of the hem. When you fold this up, it's going to follow that slant that's coming from there. This is the asymmetrical flounce that I'm going to do. You can see on one side it's shorter. On the other side, it's longer. That's the shape that the front and the back of the dress are going to have. So you cut two mirrored, the grain line is around this area, and in there you're going to have a little notch that will help you match this up to the center of the piece. So that the asymmetrical flounce makes sense, we need one of the side seams longer and the other one shorter like that. But we can't eyeball that, so there is a template here. This is a full template from side to side that you're going to place right here and cut it. You're going to trim away like that. And then you're going to do the same on the other side, on the back, but mirrored. Because there is a center back seam on the back, you need to sew that center back seam first. And then when it's all complete or extended like that, you're supposed to cut this little piece off with the fabric right sides up as per the diagram. But I want to mark it with a pen first and then cut it out. I just find it easier that way. So one easier way is to just flip the fabric around, and instead of having the pattern with the print and all the letters right sides up, you have both the pattern piece and the fabric wrong sides up. And it's essentially the same thing if I'd done this over here. So that's what I've done right there, and just trim this excess. One thing I'm gonna do now is fold this in half at the bottom and do a little line so I can match it up to the bottom of the flounce. So I can have that done already. And instead of using the template to cut out the back, I'm gonna use this to cut out the back. So here is my back. You can see I have already sewn that. I did it directly on the serger, being really careful not to trim anything away as I was serging. The seam allowance for the main seams is 1/4 inch, and that's what you get with the serger. So that's done. Now I'm gonna place this one right sides up like this, and then place this one on top. Okay, everything's aligned really well. This area right here, down here you have a little notch that will match the one at the bottom, so I made sure those are on top of each other. So this is what's going to be easier for me to cut the back instead of marking it and doing everything again. This is the one way I can make sure they're going to be exactly the same. And because the fabrics are right sides together, I'm not making a mistake as well. Over here on the top, I'm going to go ahead and sew these shoulder seams together. The neckline can be done on that step as well. Here are the shoulder seams sewn and the binding sewn already. This is my favorite binding technique, where you put the binding right sides together over here, you flip it, and then you stitch in the ditch. I love it. It's super neat, super delicate, because you don't see top stitching right there. Now I'm going to take this and just hang it down the table. And now we're going to attach the flounce pieces over here. My dress is hanging all the way down the table, the neckline, the shoulders done, and now I'm going to attach the flounce. That is the shortest side, so I need to have the longest part of the flounce there and the shortest part of the flounce here where it's longer. Match these up. I've marked little notches right in the middle there to help put it all together, and then we're going to sew that seam on this side, and on the side that's hanging down on the other side it's the same. Here I am sewing the flounce. It's a bit curved. I've got quite a bit of pins, and I'm sewing slowly, trying not to trim anything off. Here I've got it on the table extended. Side seams are still loose. If you wanted to sew your sleeves in on the flat, then you would do it now, extend it, and you would have an extended armhole, but I like sewing mine on the round. I have already constructed them. I've got even the hems done. So this is done. My next step now is to sew the side seams and then setting the sleeves on the round. Do the hem, and it's done. Here is my Jessica dress. I wish I had time to make more. I just love it so much. I'm trying to multiply myself into many Karinas, but at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours. So do I. And yeah, I wish I'd had time to make more. But here we go. This is the lower scoop neckline. So beautiful. I love how that looks. I did a binding technique that stitches in the ditch, which is my absolute favorite because it's super clean. You don't see any top stitching. The original pattern finishes the neckline here with a neckband, but I thought this fabric was too heavy for it. I don't know. I just didn't feel that it was the best way for this fabric and for the look that I was going for. Look at these chains. It's such a beautiful print. I love it so much. Here is my sleeve. Now I didn't use a twin needle here because I thought it would really go through the chains and look awful. So I did a narrow zigzag that looks almost like a straight stitch, and I'm happy with that. The back has a center back seam right there, so it disrupted the chains a little, but not that much. You can see they still sort of match there. I don't think it's that obvious that there's a center back seam, but it's very worth it because the fit is amazing. And this is the side that's shorter, so this is where the flounce is longer. I'll show you this inside out. It's much easier to see. Yeah, it's hard to see with the black print, but sewing this was super enjoyable. If I had to time how long it took, it probably took me about 2.5 hours in total, from cutting to sewing to pressing it. It's not something that's going to take a whole day, you know, very nice. Now I have washed this athletic knit before, but there are some stains from when it was stored that just don't come out. Look, all those stains. You know, hopefully they come out with more subsequent washes, but at least on the outside you can't see the stains, so at least. But anyway, just saying, I'm just letting you know I have washed this. There is a center back seam right there. It's like it's asymmetric, longer on one side, shorter on the other. This is where the short side of the flounce is sewn, and this is where the long side of the flounce is sewn. I kept my hem allowance small, 5/8, because it's curved. That's how much I like. And yeah, it was just a delight to sew. I love sewing this, and I think it looks amazing. I'm gonna feel so amazing when I finally get the chance to wear this. And of course, dresses, there's not many styling options as such. A dress is already an outfit on its own. You could just put shoes in a bag and go and you're done. You don't have to think that much about styling. But let's see it 3 ways. This is my gorgeous Jessica dress from Sinclair Patterns. I'd wanted to sew this one for such a long time and I found the perfect fabric for it. It's an athletic knit. I really love that flounce, and up closer you see it's asymmetric. I've got short sleeves here and this is size 16, toe foul, no changes. It is a fitted dress, it follows my shape perfectly, and at the bottom we have that gorgeous flounce that is shorter on one side, longer on the other. The side I'm holding there is the longer side. You can see that on the sides, and the shaping on the back is really good because of the center back seam. Here is my neckline up close. I've got a scoop neckline. There you can see the center back seam. I chose to do binding instead of a neckband just because of the weight of my fabric, and I really like that stitch in the ditch method. My short sleeves are very comfortable. The shoulder fit is where it has to be. I've got great mobility. Of course, it's a knit, and I absolutely love this dress. I've been wanting to make it for such a long time, and I finally have it, and I know I'm gonna make another one. So pretty. Dresses are harder to style because they're an outfit in themselves, but here is a black jacket. It's quite casual, it's not that formal. It's a little longer. I think I can get away with it because the dress is fitted underneath. Even though there's a flounce, it's at the bottom. If this was a dress that was loose, a swing style, I wouldn't use a long jacket like this one. So this one's perfect. Jacket is ready to wear. Fabric I really can't find, stretch suede, so I bought the jacket. I know there's one day I'm gonna be cold and I'm gonna put something on top. The next one's really different. In the print with the chains, there are some tan camel colors in there, and these are more of an autumn look for me with the booties and the linen blazer. I prefer the blazer open, it's oversized, so having the fitted dress underneath goes perfect with an oversized blazer. I wouldn't want to wear a loose dress under this blazer. So this is another way I can wear it, and I'm quite happy to have a few options. I'm sure I have many more, but this is what I came up with now. This is such a classic style. I've been seeing styles like this for years and years and years, if not decades. I think you would never look out of place with a dress like this. And remember, you can always customize to get the ease that you want. I happen to like these fitted dresses. I always have. I feel my best and most confident in these types of dresses. It didn't take up as much fabric as I thought. I thought the flounce was going to be real fabric hungry, but it really wasn't. And I'm just really happy. Tell me what you think about bodycon dresses, because when I first started learning about the term and these types of dresses, I used to associate them with really fitted, really mini cleavage, that type of dress. But it doesn't really have to be, you know. You can have sleeves, they can be longer, they don't have to show cleavage. It can cover you up quite nicely, it's just staying fitted. But that's not a bad thing, and especially if you choose the right fabric, I think it's always going to look good. Fabrics that show your undergarment lines, and that does not look good. That's why I always say stay away from rayon spandex, ITY, it's just way too lightweight. But for this type of fabric, I think it's amazing. You can always layer up, put little things on top if you feel a little bit too fitted, but it's absolutely my style and I loved sewing it. Have a look at Sinclair's mid-year sale. Remember, 25% off the whole site. You don't need a code, nothing like that. It runs through Sunday the 7th at night, midnight. That's all from me. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you back here on the channel next week. Bye.